about the fact that we have to leave a record of many of the issues that touch on the Judiciary Committee. For example, how we got into the war, which now is turning out to be much easier to determine than how we get out of the war. But we've got to scrutinize whether, and by the way, we never really declared war. We gave the president enhanced powers to prosecute the disturbances in the Middle East. But I am very zealous of the role that we have in protecting ourselves, the Congress itself having the right to declare war, and yet this is commonly referred as a war that we're in. We want to know what the role of misleading information about weapons of mass destruction and other things, whether the Downing Street memos had as much accuracy as many give them. We want to examine many of the issues and make sure that the Congress has a record. They're not a fair number of people that want us to examine the constitutional methods to remove not just one, but numbers of people in the executive branch of government. And we think that there is hardly the time to do that, since we're working on so many other things. But we should leave a record as to what we think was the circumstances before we go on to another Congress, the 111th Congress. And so here's what we have on our plate. Of course, the court security and compensation issue. We're trying to move forward with a more refined Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. We're dealing with the knotty problem of hate crimes, which I can remember when President Clinton called us all in to talk about the need to additionally penalize those who promote hate through violence and other symbols. We have a huge patent reform legislation on our plate. We have the subprime and foreclosure issues and the high number of bankruptcies it's causing that come to our attention. We're concerned about fully restoring habeas corpus, which the court has spoken to. I'm particularly interested in, of course, voter integrity, civil rights, which mainly come, enforcement and oversight come out of the Department of Justice. And so we come together as we near the end of the first year of the 110th Congress, trying to make sure that we not only move ahead and make sure we leave a record of what we think happened. Remember, it's been 12 years since there has been a leadership of the House of Representatives by Democrats, and we want to handle that in a way that will win us friends, gain independent support, and allow us to continue our work. We think it's important that that happen. We feel that the defense bar plays an incredibly important role. Thousands of lawyers working with us in the House Judiciary Committee to keep us posted, to meet with us, to appear as witnesses, and to comment on the things and the directions that we're moving in. And so it's in that spirit I'm very, very pleased to have been invited here to join you at your annual meeting. Thank you very much.
Some questions. You can take the question. Sure. If the young lady who is collecting questions would bring them up to the front. I'm not sure that I see her anywhere out there. Are there folks that have questions? I see folks. Yeah, if somebody would just anywhere near there grab them. I don't know what happened to the lady, but fortunately we do have some questions already submitted, which is great. And thank you, Mr. President. Congressman, thank you very much for those fine remarks. Given that there appears to be bipartisan support, we heard Senator Cornyn this morning talk about it, for an increase in judicial salaries. What do you see as the impediment to having both houses pass that? Will it be purely budgetary concerns? Will the election process affect that? What do you see as the real hurdle to getting that done?
Thank you. Well, we have invoked a PAYGO process, that nothing goes into our budget appropriation unless we've figured out how it's going to be paid for. One of the things that have happened over the last several years is that we're running one of the largest deficits ever. And so we have to work that out, and that would be a consideration. But I think what's more troublesome for us on the House side is the fact that many members are not quite comfortable with breaking the link between the compensation of legislators and the compensation of jurists. And Congressman Howard Berman of California on the Judiciary Committee, ranking member a Democrat on the committee, has spent a great deal of time discussing with members the fact that they need not be nervous that the judicial salaries will go up and ours will stay where they are. Now, it's true that some members always voted for our pay raises because we could point that they're connected, and we gave the judges some additional compensation. But the judges haven't been receiving so much as cost of living allowance raises. They're way behind. And so our role is to deal with the argument and concern that we won't be able, or maybe not have the courage, to raise our own salaries separate from that of the federal bench. So those are the two big issues that are hanging out there in that discussion.
Thank you. A question that was submitted. Some are concerned by what is perceived as an effort to curtail or roll back the fundamental right to a trial by jury in this country. This organization is fully committed to maintaining the civil jury trial system. What are your thoughts on that, and do you see similar efforts anywhere in the Congress to try to scale back on the right to trial by jury?
Well, first of all, I totally agree on the right of a trial by jury. I think it's essential